making snacks. Since we're going over to the holidays or we're starting the holiday season, we're going to go into healthy dips. Okay. Most of them are going to be Greek yogurt based. Why do I prefer to have, or why do I typically choose Greek yogurt? Greek yogurt is a wonderful base for creating dips instead of using sour cream, for example. Sour cream tends, although it is um, suitable to have on a low carb diet, typically it's higher in fat, saturated fat, but Greek yogurt, on the other hand, tends to be creamier. It's higher in protein and it's lower in carbs. That's why that is one of the ingredients that we're going to use. Okay. Before we start making the dips, we're going to start making some low carb chips. Okay. There are several ways that you can do a low carb chip. One way is to grab like the keto pita breads. You cut them into triangles and then you can put them into the air fryer. That way you have something crispy. The one that we're going to do today are zucchini chips. They're a healthy way of having something crunchy without necessarily relying on a high carb approach. Okay, so what you're going to do is that you grab the zucchini. There are different ways also that you can do them. If you grab like a slicer, it's going to make you have like thin slices and more even and everything. In my case, I'm just going to just chop them up into slices. So you cut the tip of the zucchini, or it can also work with other vegetables. It can work with carrots. It works with zucchini. You can try it with eggplant. I haven't tried it yet. That's one of the things that I want to do. So what you start doing is that you start slicing them until you get all of them very sliced or all the way. Try for them to be as even as possible, because if you have different thickness, some of them are going to take longer to cook, or they might not end up being as crispy. Okay, so you grab them, you grab the air fryer, then you place them evenly. Try for them not to be on top of each other, otherwise they might not cook as it should. Okay, so you have them into the air fryer. Oops. And then what you do is that you can put the herbs or spices of your choice. So I usually just put salt and pepper. I like them pretty basic, because since we're going to be creating dips, I don't want the chips from take the flavor away from that dip. Okay, so you grab it and then you put it into the air fryer. I usually put it at 350 Fahrenheit, and then I put them 10 minutes, but I start just checking them just to make sure like how they are doing. Okay, so they're going to go into the air fryer. Okay, so once they're there, that should be the first thing to do, since they are the ones that might take a little bit more time. Okay, the first option that I have for you is a tzatziki dip. You can use it as a dip, or another way that I also like to do it is as a sauce for a salad. You can use it as a sauce for putting it on top of your salmon, for example. So it is a very versatile food for you to have. You start with one cucumber. So what you're going to do is you can peel it. If not, just cut it in half, but make sure to remove the seeds. Okay, so just grab a spoon and just take out the seeds until you get like a nice boat. Okay. One of my favorite cooking hacks to save a lot of time while I'm cooking is to have a bowl. And whenever you're cooking, make sure to have a bowl where you can put all of the things that you want to eventually throw into the garbage. That way you don't have to go back and forth into the garbage bin. Okay. So now that you have the boats, you start cutting them into slices, and then you cut them into cubes. Okay. For some people, you can also put them. You can also grate them. If you don't like having them like chunks of the cucumber, you can also grate them. Okay. One of the benefits of cucumber, besides being a very low carb option, it's also very high in water, so it's very filling. So if you want to avoid, like if you're looking for a snack, cucumbers are always like a great option. Okay. So once you have the cucumber, and once you have it chopped into cubes, it's going to be more or less like half a cup. Okay, so once you have it, you put it into a bowl, and then it's just a matter of adding the rest of the ingredients. Okay, you grab the Greek yogurt. So we're going to put around 1 cup. Okay, we put the Greek yogurt. Then you can use either fresh dill. Another thing that I really like to do is have dried spices. They're really a time saver in case that you don't have a lot of time, or in case that you want to do them and don't want the dill to go bad. That's a very good option. So you put a little bit of fresh dill. You start mixing it. Then you put some salt, some pepper. You grab a lemon. Then you squeeze. You can start with half a lemon, and then as you go, you can start trying it to check the acidity. If you want it for it to be more acid, you can put the other half. Okay. So you squeeze the lemon. And then the last ingredient is minced garlic. Okay. Which another thing that I usually do is that I typically just mince the garlic and then I put it into olive oil. That way it's already ready. And since garlic is one of like the most used foods, it saves you a lot of time. Okay, so there, now you have a healthy version of a dip. That's the first one, which is a tzatziki recipe. One of the best things about this option is that for every 1/4 of a cup, or around like 2 tablespoons, you get only 70 calories, less than 3 grams of carbs. You get only 5 grams of fats and 4 grams of protein, which 4 grams of protein is more or less the same like half an egg. So as you can see, it's a very low carb, very high protein, and moderate in fat dip for you to try. That's the first one that I have for you. Okay. The other option that I have for you is avocado and feta option. Okay, so what we're going to do is that we grab one avocado, then we slice it, praying that it turns out to be great. Okay, don't you love when the avocado is just as perfect as this? So you grab the avocado and then you're going to scoop it into a bowl. Okay, so you grab the avocado. One of the good things about having avocado as a base is that avocados are very high in healthy fats. So healthy fats, they help reduce inflammation. They're high in antioxidants, and avocados are also very high in fiber. So whenever you are reducing like the carb intake, one of the side effects that some people might have is constipation, since when you reduce the carbs, you might reduce a little bit of the fiber. To prevent that from happening, you can always include high fiber foods. Avocado is a very good high fiber, low carb food. Going to check on the zucchini chips. Okay, they're getting there. So as you can see, what I normally like to do is just shake them up a bit so that they change sides. Okay, so for the avocado dip, we have the avocado. We're going to grab some feta. Okay, you grab the feta cheese. It's usually around 2 tablespoons of the feta. With cheese, you can never go wrong. So if you always want to add a little bit more, feel free to add just an itsy bit more. Okay, so we have the feta. We're going to add a little bit of onion powder. What I normally like to do is that I usually like to have like onion and garlic powder because they save a lot of time. So instead of you like having to chop up the garlic and everything, you can just have it already there. Okay, then you start smashing. Okay. Okay, so once it's already mixed, you add half a lemon. So I'm using the one that I cut for the tzatziki recipe. Okay. You mix it. And then you add salt and pepper to taste. Finally, as an optional, you can always add a little bit of spice. I like spicy foods. So what I normally do is that I grab some chipotle powder and just add a tiny bit. And that can also give you a boost of color. And since that chipotle has a lot of like smoky flavor, it ends up being a wonderful combination with the avocado and the feta and the garlic and the lime juice. Okay, so there it ends up being an avocado feta dish. Regarding this dish, 1/4 of a cup or like around 2 tablespoons. It's going to give you 85 calories. Remember that avocados are great, but they are higher in fat, so they're a little bit higher in calories. So you do need to be careful with those. It has only 4 grams of carbs. It has 7 grams of fat and 2 grams of protein. Okay, so it is a very healthy way to have a dip that it's going to be lower in carbs and then a little bit higher in fat. Okay, that's the third option that I have for you. Moving on, we're going to make a Greek yogurt French onion dip. Okay, so what we're going to do is you grab an onion, you slice it, and then what we want to start heating up a pan. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to put it into, or we're going to slice it so that you have like the rings. Okay, you get like the onion rings. So you grab like and you just slice it. You are going to grab around 1 cup of onions. Remember just to to grab it, you take the outer shell and then you just separate the rings. Okay. Once you have the onion, you can measure it by cups, or it's going to be roughly 1 medium onion, more or less. Okay, so you heat up a pan into medium heat, and what we're going to do is that we're going to caramelize the onion, and so that we can have the Greek yogurt French onion dip. Okay, you grab some olive oil. This is 1 tablespoon of olive oil, and then you put it into a pan. Okay, and then once it's high, we're going to put it into the pan. Okay, so hopefully you grab the rings. Then you're just going to place them into the pan. Okay, we're going to wait until they are caramelized. So just keep an eye on them. Okay, so whenever you're doing them, just keep an eye on them. Okay, while the onion cooks, we're going to go into our final dip, which is another version for a ranch dip, but this one is going to be a little bit healthier. It's going to have less saturated fat, and it's going to be made with Greek yogurt. Okay, you grab the yogurt. We're going to use 1 cup. Okay, you have 1 cup of the Greek yogurt. We're going to add some dried parsley. Again, I usually have them into tiny containers so that it's a little bit easier. You grab some dill. So you're going to put 1 tablespoon of the dried parsley. You're going to put 1 teaspoon of the dried dill. You're going to put some garlic powder. You're going to put around 1 teaspoon too, and onion powder as well. Okay, so it's going to be also 1 teaspoon. Okay, so then you mix it. You add a little bit of pepper, a little bit of salt, and one of the things that you can do, there are 2 options. I've tried this recipe using, okay, so I know that a lot of people struggle with that Worcestershire sauce. You can put a little bit of this and it's going to give it a little bit of a different flavor. What other people do is that they put mayo. Okay, I usually prefer going with this one, since the mayo is going to add a little bit of the unhealthier fats that we want to avoid. So you're going to add 1 tablespoon. Okay. And then you just mix it. And you have a version of a ranch dressing. Now, it might be a little bit different. I love it. I love placing it like with some vegetables. You can get some carrot sticks or some cherry tomatoes or some broccoli and then have it as a snack. The good thing is that it's going to be very high in protein. So it is going to be a very filling snack. Okay, so 2 tablespoons or 1/4 of a cup of the recipe is going to have around 65 calories. It's going to have 2 grams of carbs, 5 grams of fat, and 4 grams of the of protein. Okay, checking on the onions, they are getting there, and I see that the air fryer finished, so I'm going to check on the zucchini chips. Okay, now, as you can see, we have a zucchini chip, so it's going to be a little bit crispy. Some of them turn out to be brownish, but I really don't mind because when they're brown, they're usually crispier. So I really like them like that. If not, you can just put them a little bit less time. Let's see. See, they're going to be crispy, and they're a very healthy way of having a low carb chip. Okay, some people think that making like vegetable chips, it's very complicated, but as you can see, it's just a matter of slicing them the right way, putting them into the air fryer, checking on them, and then you can have a very nice chip. So what you do, you grab one of the dips. You have no idea how awesome it tastes. Okay, the onions are getting there. While the onions cook, I'm going to check if we have some questions. Can we use a regular oven for the chips? Yep.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I noticed you're answering it. By the way, the chips looked amazing. So I noticed you're answering the question. So yeah, just wanted to give some feedback. The chips looked amazing.
Yep, yeah. They end up being great. Another, like if you're not going to put them into the dip, they're also a very handy option to have on their own. In that case, I usually put garlic powder and onion powder and maybe a little bit of chipotle powder too, just to have them um, a little bit of a flavor, but otherwise, just salt and pepper with the chip. Perfect. The oven, yes, you also put it into the oven, the same 350. Just make sure to supervise them. Put a timer, like if you're going, these ones took 15 minutes. Okay, so the air fryer usually tells me around halfway when I need to shake them. So you put the timer, the 15 minutes, and then put another timer so that you check them and then you just stir them up or shake them so that they end up cooking on the other side. Okay, but yeah, you can definitely cook the zucchini chips instead of the air fry in the oven as well. Okay, let's see. For Greek yogurt and general dairies, do you recommend low fat or whole milk for people who are not on keto? I try to have a balanced diet. Okay, um, so I usually recommend going either a low fat or a 2% option. I never You can use the whole fat milk. There is no trouble in that. However, I typically prefer to add plant-based fats because they tend to be healthier for your heart. Okay, so for example, if they end up having like the same, if you end up having like the whole milk Greek yogurt and a low-fat Greek yogurt, but you add a little bit of olive oil, they may end up having the same calories, the same fat, and everything, but the fat that both each one has, it's not going to be the same. Oil-based or plant-based fats tend to be healthier than fats that come from animal sources. So I typically recommend going to the low fat or the 2% option and the whole fat just on occasions, for example. Um, Again, like you said, everything is about balance. So, for example, if we have here three options that are going to be Greek-based dips, you can try making two of them with a low fat and then one with a whole fat. That way, again, it's not that they're entirely bad, it's a matter of balance. Choosing the low fat, which has a less saturated fat, over the whole milk, for example. Let's see. Okay, what are we making? And can we refrigerate these dips? What about the zucchini chips? Okay, so what we're making or what we made an avocado dip, avocado feta dip, summary. Avocado, feta, it has garlic and onion powder. I put lime or lemon juice and a little bit of chipotle powder, okay? The other option, that's a tzatziki recipe, Greek yogurt, dill, garlic, cucumber, and the lemon juice, salt and pepper. Both of them are under 85 calories, less than 3 grams of fat, less than 3 grams of carbs, around 5 to 7 grams of fats, and 4 to 2 grams of protein. And the last one is the ranch dressing, which is the yogurt, the dried parsley, dried dill, garlic and onion powder, salt and pepper, and a little bit of the Worcestershire sauce, 65 calories, 2 to 3 grams of carbs, 5 grams of fats, and 4 grams of protein. Okay, and the last one which we are making is the French onion dip, which the onions are starting to cook very nicely. Okay, and for the dips, yes, you can definitely store them in the fridge. That's what I'm going to do after we finish. You can store them in the fridge for 3 to 4 days. They might last a little bit longer. You just have to check on them. And the zucchini chips, you can also put them into the fridge. Or what you can do if you want to preserve them is you can put them into an airtight container and they might last as well. So those are the two options that you can that you can use. And I think I've gone, yep, through all of the questions. Okay. Okay, now we have the French onion one. Okay. So as you can see, the onions are nicely cooked. So what you're going to do is you're going to put it into a bowl. Okay. And what we're going to put is we're going to put some garlic. It is around 1 clove of minced garlic. We're going to put Greek yogurt. It's going to be 1 cup. Okay, around 1 cup. Then we're going to put 1 teaspoon of the Worcestershire sauce. Okay. We're going to put salt, and we're going to put pepper. Okay. You can put a little bit of dry parsley if you want. And it turns out being like this. Okay. As you can see, there's the chunks of the onion. There are 2 options. You can have it as it is. If you don't like the texture of the onion, which is like a struggle for me, I love the taste of the onion, but I don't like the texture. You can put it into a food processor and then just mix it up until it's completely creamy. Okay, instead of having like the chunks of the onion. Otherwise, if you're okay with it, then you can have it as it is. Okay. And the benefit of this recipe is that, again, for 1/4 of a cup, it's going to have 75 calories, only 3 grams of carbs, 6 grams of fat, and 3 grams of protein. Sorry. And there you have it. So we have the 4 healthy dip options, which are a very good way of whenever you go into someone's house and you want to be a little bit more conscious of what you're going to eat, but you don't know what the other person is going to have. Taking something that you know that you can have a little bit more of without being completely off plan. It's also always going to help you, and the other person is going to be just as happy of having a little bit of help in the food department. So there you have it, the tips, the onion dip, the ranch, the tzatziki, and the avocado.
Awesome. Super amazing. Thank you. Love the talk, love the cooking. And for people that joined the call, thank you for joining. And we will put a recording to the session in the community section of the app. Thank you, Brenda, and thank you everyone for joining. Have a great rest of your weekend.
Bye, guys.
Bye.